Hey, check 1, 2. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in and welcome. Let's get practicing today. We have a couple of challenging postures ahead of us. One for today, and I'm pretty certain we're going to spread this over 2 classes. I'm going to see how it rolls today. If I can get everything in one class, which I highly doubt we'll do it in one class, but I really have the bigger picture of going towards full Vashisthasana. That's grabbing the leg, and for me, that's a pretty big posture to tackle in one practice as far as understanding the techniques. I'm sure everybody can kind of get some resemblance of it, but in order to set ourselves up for the maximum success, I want to make sure that you understand all the techniques involved in getting into that. And a lot of that has to do with the strength of the shoulder as well as the obliques and the QL, which we started working on last time. And we'll continue working on today. And then, of course, the inner thighs and hamstrings need to be flexible as well. So let's get started right away, because it is even just learning the preparations for these postures is in depth and in detail. It's something I usually teach in like a 3-hour workshop. So we're going to get going. And what I'd love for you to do is start in all fours, hands and knees. And one of the most important things we can do for side plank, any of the side planks that are on the hand, aside from the forearm, one. So all the regular side planks, Vashishthasanas, is to get a really strong foundation. So grip your fingers into the ground. Those of you that were in the handstand immersion last month in December, this is going to be very familiar. But you're going to grip your fingers into the ground any way that you can and drag the fingers toward the palm. Okay. So don't worry if you're new to this action, just any sort of gripping the ground will do. Those of you that were in handstand, you can refine it and do the, that little claw hand that we were doing. Okay, the next step is to learn how to rotate the biceps, rotate them forward. That's called external rotation of the arm bone. And that's going to stabilize what's called the glenohumeral joint. It's your shoulder. So let's do it a few times. Grip your fingers into the ground, rotate your biceps back toward you. Elbows will wing out a little bit. That's called internal rotation of the upper arm bone. Then externally rotate your arm bone so biceps face forward. And then just kind of go back and forth a few times. Internally rotate and externally rotate. Internally rotate and externally rotate. Keep going. The internal rotation will tend to be more easy than the external rotation for a lot of people, because we're chronically internally rotated in the arm bones, because everything's in front. Especially when we're holding our cell phone or our computer, our arms are internally rotated. We're eating food, our arms are internally rotated. So most of the time we are internally rotated. So to activate the external rotators tends to be a bit tough. Okay, so rotating the biceps forward is external rotation. And then come back to child's pose and give your wrists and arms a moment. Get long in the sides of the body. Take a full breath in and out. Yes, grip your fingers into the ground. Inhale forward to all fours. Arch, look up. Exhale, child's pose. Hips back to heels. Let's warm up the hips, the shoulders. Make sure your hands are gripping, fingers into the earth. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Long, steady breaths. Inhale forward, arch. Exhale back. Inhale forward, arch. Exhale back. Inhale forward, arch, tuck toes. Exhale, downward facing Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's take a full breath in
and out. Full breath in and out. Hug your arms in toward each other a little bit so you can feel some strength in your shoulders. One more breath in and out. Forward to plank, inhale. Exhale, knees down, child's pose. Let's cycle through these 4 postures. Forward to all fours, inhale, arch.
Lift the tailbone up in a down dog, exhale.
Plank, inhale.
Exhale, child's.
All fours, inhale, arch.
Exhale, down dog.
One more round, inhale, 4.
Exhale, child's.
Inhale to all fours and pause. Take your right knee to the center of the mat, left knee out to the side. Squeeze your outer right hip in. Fire hydrant pose, right arm out to the side. Your oblique muscles can participate in helping turn the pelvis open, but keeping the chest turning the opposite direction. So your chest turns to the right, your hips turn to the left. That's going to be your midsection toning to do those opposite actions, creating a twist in the spine. Take a full breath in. Exhale, release. Take a breath in here. Exhale. Left knee to the midline, to the center line of the mat. Squeeze your outer left hip in. Right leg lifts up. Hydrant pose. Take the left arm out to the side. Open your right pelvis up. Open your left chest up. So you're twisting in the spine. So your pelvis is rotating to the right and the chest is rotating to the left. These will be your oblique muscles starting to awaken. Your back muscles, your QL muscle, the backside. Keep the pelvis open and keep the chest open. And release. Come to all fours. Take a breath in, arch and look up. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Right leg to the sky on the inhale. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Full breath in. And out. Straighten leg, inhale, square. Step right foot forward. High up on the fingertips, take a breath. Exhale it out. Draw your feet toward each other, get lighter in the fingers, just barely touch the hands. Round the upper back slightly so your hands almost, maybe they even come off the ground, and then lengthen through the top of the head. Full breath in. Full breath out. Pressing through your right heel. Inhale. Exhale. So there should be space at your rib cage and thigh. One more breath. Inhale. Step to down dog. Exhale. Left leg to the sky. Inhale. Bend knee, open up hip. Hold here, full breath in. Do another one here. Straight leg, inhale, square hip. Step forward, exhale. High up on the fingertips and take a breath. Soften a little bit. Wag the tail straight back. Pull your feet toward each other. And press your left heel down until your fingers get light. Round your upper back. Lengthen through the top of the head. Full breath in. Full breath out. Make sure there's space between your belly and your thigh. Inhale. Lengthen through the top of the head. One more breath in. Step back, down dog. Forward to plank pose. Inhale. Knees down, lower chaturanga. Let's warm up the back muscles. First, lift your chest up. Inhale. Exhale, release. Now it's chest and hands. Inhale, lift the chest up. Lift the hands up, shoulder blades together. Exhale, release. Now it's chest, hands, and feet. Inhale, lift the chest, hands, feet. Exhale. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck the toes, exhale, down dog. Walk the feet to the front of the yoga mat. When you get there, take a halfway lift on the in-breath. Exhale and bow. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale. One more breath, inhale. Exhale, bow. Hands to the hips, arch the back, rise. Tadasana. We take a breath in and out. Feel the sensations you've created from your experience. One more breath here. Urdhva Hastasana. Reach to the sun, inhale. To the earth, bow, Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway lift on the inhale. Left foot back as you exhale. Hands to the front knee, come up, pause there. Wag the tail straight back behind you and root down through your front foot so that your hips rise up as a result. Keeping that, lengthen through the top of the head and pull your front ribs slightly back. Let's take a full breath in and out. Some movement of the scapula to get the shoulders warmed up. Take your arms in front like you're holding a beach ball. On the inhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Open the collarbones. Exhale, release that, slow. Again, inhale. Shoulder blades together, they retract. Exhale. Again, retract the shoulder blades, inhale. Exhale. High lunge, reach up, inhale. Open Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. All right, so we have retraction and protraction of the scapula. Let's do that here. So if you retract your scapula, your hands don't have to move. So I'd like you to retract the scapula first without your hands really moving back. Okay, so just move your shoulder blades together. Then move your hands back. Okay, take a breath in. Exhale, shoulder blades apart from one another, around the back. Inhale, shoulder blades toward each other. Can arch the back a little. Exhale, round. Reach. Inhale. Exhale. Now just come back to Warrior 2. Gaze over your front hand. Press through the front heel. Take a full breath in. And out. Reverse Warrior. Inhale. Hold as you exhale. Take your left hand, if you can, to your left ribs and press the left ribs to the right. So you stretch your right ribs forward more, then go upwards. Take one more full breath in. Exhale, hands to the ground. Pivot the back heel up, straighten through the front leg as you inhale. Exhale and bow. Again, bend the front knee. Exhale, straighten and bow. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten and bow. Inhale, bend. Downward facing. Let's take a full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, forward to plank. Chaturanga. 3 little cobras. Inhale, lift the heart first. Exhale, release. Lift the heart and the hands. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, release. Heart, hands, and feet this time. Inhale, lift up. And release. All fours. Down dog. Exhale. Right leg to the sky. It's the same leg. Step between your hands. Pivot the back heel down. Front heel bisects back arch. Walk the hands to the inside of the front foot. Take a full breath in. Lengthen through the torso. Exhale, bend the elbows and bow. Inhale, lengthen. Press your front knee out to the right. Exhale, bow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bow. Walk to the front of your yoga mat. Back heel up. Step forward, halfway lift. Exhale and bow. To the sunrise, Urdhva Hastasana. To the heart. Inhale, reach up. To the earth. Half lift. Right foot back. Press into your left heel. Rise up, hands to the front knee. Square the pelvis so the tailbone points straight back. Press into your left heel so that you feel your left glutes fire up. Now, we're going to take, this is going to be interesting for a lot of you. Okay, so we're going to take cactus arms while still leaning forward, okay? Now on the inhale, you're going to internally rotate the arms so the palms will face up. Exhale, externally rotate, palms face forward. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Rise, high lunge. Open up, warrior two. All right, same thing. Cactus arms here. We're going to do internal and external rotation again of the arm bones. So inhale to internally rotate. Exhale, externally rotate. The biceps face back, palms face up. Inhale, internally rotate. The biceps are facing down. Exhale, external rotation. Internal rotation, inhale. External rotation. Good. Reach the palms out to the sides. Warrior two. Is it possible? Turn your palms up and rotate your biceps to face up to the sky or even back a little bit. That's external rotation. Don't lose that in the biceps, in the upper arms. You're going to keep them externally rotating, but slowly turn the palms down in opposition. Those are two different joints. One's the shoulder that rotates the biceps up. The other is called the radial ulnar joint, your forearm, which rotates the palms face down. You could have the biceps rotating outward while the palms face down. Let's take a full breath in and out. This is what's needed in Vashisthasana. The biceps rotating outward, but the palms are going to be on the ground, or one palm at least. Reverse warrior, inhale. Hold here. Again, let's take the right hand, slide your rib cage to the front, then lift the left belly, lift the left ribs. Full breath in and out. One breath in. Hands to the ground. Pivot the back heel up. Straighten through the front leg. Look forward. Inhale. Exhale and bow. Inhale, bend the front knee. Exhale, straighten and bow. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Downward facing dog. Forward plank, inhale. Chaturanga. All right, this time, interlace the hands at your low back. Move your shoulders towards your ears first, then squeeze your elbows and shoulder blades toward each other. Keeping that, reach the hands up to the sky to open up the chest, open up the shoulders. Press your pelvis down, inhale, lift the heart. Now, as you get ready, lift both feet up, but reach the toes back. Full breath in. And out. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And release. All fours, hands and knees. Inhale. Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Take a moment here. Observe your breath flowing through you. Remember that all things in nature are pulsing. And it starts by observing that pulse within you, within your own breath. Every inhale is an expansion. The body makes way for it, right? When with every exhale, the body contracts in order to release. This happens in all of life. And that's why this immersion is called the pulse. It's something that we can honor within us and all around us, that things are constantly in a state of moving towards contraction in order to expand, only to contract again and expand again. And it's in a constant, it's cyclical. It happens over and over again. It's recursive. Take the left leg to the sky on the inhale. Step forward. Plant the back heel down. Front heel bisects the back arch. Again, if you have one of these beautiful second wind mats, you have a center line, typically down each of them, that's going to help you with your alignment. So the front heel is on that center line. The back arch is on that center line. Walk your hands to the inside of your left foot. Let's take a full breath. Lengthen the chest. Bend the elbows as you exhale and bow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bow. Walk to the front of the yoga mat. Back heel spins up. Step forward on the next breath in, half lift. As you exhale, bow. Take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. Other pinky on the outside from what you did the last time. So whatever your uncomfortable grip is, most likely. Shoulders to the ears. And then squeeze shoulder blades toward each other. Retract the scapula. Now think about rotating the arms outward. What that feels like in the back is to, well, first straighten the arms, is to squeeze your pinky side of your hands toward one another. That's going to be external rotation of the arms. Let's work on that today. So squeeze the pinky side of your arms and hands towards each other. That's external rotation. Take a full breath in and out. We see even in the physical body that everything exists within opposites. For every internal rotation, there's an external rotation. For every flexion of every joint, there's an extension of every joint. So everything has equal and opposite actions. This happens everywhere in life, opposing actions. And yet when we come up with opposition in life, we tend to avoid it. We tend to push it away, pretend it doesn't exist, pretend that our side is the right side. Hands to the hips, arch the back, and rise up. And so the pulse
the idea of spanda is not just the idea of contraction and expansion, but the recognition that everything in the world, everything in the universe, everything in nature, a reminder that we are a part of nature, everything exists in equal and opposites. And it's neither good nor bad to be one side or the other, but it is the very fact that both are required for this life to exist. And that is the biggest teaching of yoga itself, is the recognition that all things exist in opposition. That means all things that we believe are true, there's always a false. Everything that we believe is good, there's always a bad. There's a magnetism, and then there's a repulsion that happens in all things. Okay. And just because we are human beings, a part of nature, means that that pulse exists within us, and you can feel the witness of it by feeling the pulse of your heart. It expands and it contracts. Your lungs expand and they contract. For every movement outward, there's a movement inward. And if we recognize that, we can stop fighting nature. We can stop fighting what we are as human beings, beings of nature. Bend the knees, take the hands to the thighs. And we see it in our muscular system, right? We can lengthen and we can contract. We can do both things. They move in opposite directions. What's even more magnificent is we can contract something that is lengthened, and we can relax something that is short. This is a little bit more advanced of a conversation as far as the physical body goes. But let's do it right now. Let's try to contract something that is lengthened. So here's how we do that. Move your hips back. Press your heels isometrically away from each other and form an arch in your back. Right now, your buttock muscles, they're lengthened. You're going to just contract them a little bit. And the way you'll do that is micro tuck your tailbone without moving your pelvis into posterior tilt. So anterior tilt by pressing the hamstrings apart. Now, activate your buttocks by slowly tucking the tail just enough until you feel your glutes fire up, but your spine doesn't change. You still have an arch in your low back. The back muscles, the QL muscles, are now going to be fired up against the glutes. The glutes are going to try to tuck the tail, that's also the hamstrings, against the strength of your QL, your quadratus lumborum, and your erector spinae. These are the back muscles that create an arch. You want to make sure that those back muscles are fired up. They're needed for today. Okay, to get them more fired up, lift the chest and enjoy your lumbar curve. That is a natural back bend. It's called extension of the spine. Keep the lumbar curve and the lordosis, and then start to lift the heart. Now, the upper back is more kyphotic in compared to the low back, meaning the low back is supposed to be more of an arched position, and then the S curve goes back the other way. So we round or a little bit, let's say, relax in the upper thoracic area. And what you can do is breathe behind the back of your heart. Now, this will feel like nothing unless your hips are back and you're micro tucking the tailbone against the arch of the low back. Okay, those muscles should be working against each other, trying to tuck the tailbone while keeping the low back arched. Now the low back should be fired up as a result. Take the arms up to the sky. Take a full breath in and out. Keep the shoulders up. Keep the sides of the body up. Reach up. Keep the hips back. One more full breath in. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana, forward fold. Half lift on the inhale. Step the right foot back as you exhale. High lunge, rise up, inhale. Open up, warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. All right, let's do a little bit more of internal and external rotation so we get the idea here. Internally rotate, that's the biceps right here, face downward. Okay, so take a breath in. Externally rotate, the biceps right here are going to face upward or even backwards. Now we're just doing it with straight arms, okay? Inhale, internal. Exhale, external. Let's do one more. Now again, keep the external rotation, so biceps face back. You can take your hand to your bicep, and let's do that. Take your left hand to your bicep and spin it back behind you. Now turn the palm down without changing the bicep. Okay, palm tries to face down, bicep tries to face up. Okay, now do the same with the back arm without your hands support. Just imagine your left hand or your left biceps being pulled into that external rotation, and then turn the palm down without changing the bicep. Full breath in and out. All right, right forearm to the thigh, left hand to the hip. Pull your feet toward each other and turn the belly, turn the chest. Now, a little bit different today. You're going to slide your left hand and try to reach for your left knee without rolling your shoulder forward. So keep your shoulder retracted and then turn your palm up, okay? And reach towards the outer edge of your back foot. Now, use your waistline, your oblique muscles here to side bend up. You're still on a diagonal. See how my torso is on the same diagonal as my back leg? And I'm also not resting on my front thigh. There's in between the two parts that would be easy. This would be easy and this would be easy. I'm right in the part between that's very hard, where the obliques have to fire up, the QL has to fire up. Now take your right arm in opposition. Both arms externally rotating. Reach. And release, hands to the ground. Okay, turn the back toes in a little bit and straighten through the front leg. Walk your right hand back, left hand to the hip. Turn your chest. Take your top shoulder, retract it, and then take the left arm to the sky. Utthita Trikonasana. Let's do 3 breaths. Inhale. Okay, reach your left arm first, externally rotate it, reach it towards the back. Get light on your right hand, it could be on a block, and see if you can activate your obliques so your right hand gets really light, and maybe you can reach it forward. Okay, not too far down. We don't want to strain the hamstrings, so I'm pretty high up, just using my obliques here to lift me up. One more breath. Now very slowly, let the obliques out. Don't collapse. Now bend the front knee, back heel up, step forward, halfway lift on the inhale. Feel the right and left hip as you bow. Notice the difference here. One more breath. All right, let's get I don't know if you noticed, but the right leg, typically after you've done all that, feels like the right hip can forward fold more. There's more forward folding because the femur bone is sucked more deep into the socket if you've done all of that properly. Okay, hands to the hips, arch the back and rise. Yeah, we're gonna match that to the left side. Okay, here we go. First, we move into our chair pose and we try to strike up the activation of our QL and our erector spinae, the back muscles here. Bend the knees, please. Again, you got to move your hips back for this to work out. If your knees are forward, it's just going to overload the quads and it's going to underload the buttocks. So move your hips back and press your heels out so we can target the glute muscles. Keeping the heels pressing out, I feel like your buttocks kind of widens in the backside. Now into that space of width, you micro tuck your tail without losing the arch of your low back. Now, if you just tuck your tail, there's no muscle activation there, right? Okay, but we want to have the muscle activation. So that means 2 opposing forces must be at play. The first opposing force is your sit bones trying to lift and tipping your pelvis into anterior tilt using the back muscles, the erector spinae muscles and the QL. Now, against that, try to tuck your tail just a little bit so your glutes fire up. Okay, those 2 opposing forces, you keep them as you try to sit just a little bit lower, pressing the heels out, and then start to lift the belly up. Now we try to really work the back muscles by lifting the heart up. Take the arms up, make sure your shoulders rise up and reach up. Don't let this be easeful, make it strong. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Exhale, bow. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale, right foot steps back. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, open up, warrior 2. All right, same drill with the arms here. Start with internal rotation, inhale. Exhale, externally rotate. Palms face up, but biceps is really what we're trying to focus on. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Now take your right hand to your left bicep, rotate it out. Okay. You should feel your left shoulder blade kind of depress as you externally rotate. Okay. That would be the proper movement of that external rotation. Now, keeping that with your right hand kind of helping turn your left palm face down without losing that external rotation of the left bicep. Okay. Now take your right arm back. You're going to try to do the same with the right without using your hand. So your right bicep rotates up, palm faces down. Okay, so both biceps are facing up, but palms are facing down. Let's take a full breath in. One more. And side angle preparation. All right, so here we go. Same idea. We want to get the obliques fired up on the right side. Reach the right, first of all, right hand on the hip, then take your right shoulder back. Then slide your right hand down towards the back leg. Externally rotate, so palm faces up. Now side bend upward without collapsing the bottom waistline. Okay, so side bend upward until your obliques fire up a little bit, your back muscles and your QL back here. Take the left arm forward. I try to get my neck in line with my spine. Make this challenging on the oblique muscles and the QL back there. You're gonna feel it in the side body here, maybe in the back right here. That's where the QL is. Remember, don't collapse your front chest or your pelvis on your front thigh. Keep them both lifted. You can look at my pelvis for a reference. All right, slow. Left hand outside the left foot. Turn the back toes in a little bit. Walk your left hand back. You can always be in a block. It's a great idea. Straighten through the left leg. Okay. Press the back heel out just slightly. That's going to get your outer hip awakened in the backside. Lengthen through the chest and pull your right shoulder blade into retraction. Reach the right arm up for Trikonasana. Hold here. Breathe steady. And now we're going to turn it into a side waistline engagement. So please press your heels down, get lighter in your left fingertips, and then squeeze the right ribs to the right hip. Left arm forward, right arm back. Full breath in and out. Two more. One more. Now don't give up. Just very slowly let the left arm come down. Slowly come out. Bend the left knee and pivot your back heel up. Step forward, halfway lift. Press the back of your hamstrings apart and bow. Hopefully your right and left leg are starting to even out a little bit. Let's hang here. Full breath in and out. One more, inhale. And exhale. All right, hands to the hips. Arch and rise. Okay, let's come into a balanced posture. Vrikshasana tree pose. Right heel comes to the left inner thigh. A little knee not so wide, but a little bit forward, so off on a diagonal. Okay, most people open the knee too much, and what that does is it turns the pelvis open. Right? It looks like my knee's out to the side, but really what I did is I deactivated my hip joints and rotated my pelvis out. You want both your ASIS, the two hip bones here, to be facing straight forward, the knee to be out on an angle. Okay, so what that means is turn your pelvis a little bit to the left for most of us, okay? Almost all of us, let's put it this way. And then make sure your hip isn't sagging out to the left. Squeeze your greater trochanter, that's the outer hip bone here, in, and turn the pelvis a little to the left. Your knee should come forward more. Okay, now rotate the palms out. and reach the arms up and see if you can bring the palms together and bring the shoulders up to the ears. Okay, close to the ears, if not touching. Press the pinky edge of the palms together. That's going to be external rotation when the arms are overhead. It's a bit tough to do that. Press the pinky edge of your palms together and reach up through your third finger, your ring fingers. If possible, you can turn the gaze up, but make sure that you're not sacrificing, your hip alignment. So you want to keep turning your hips to the left. Shoulders up. Pinky edge of the hands together. One more breath. And then release. Hands. Release. Leg. All right. Second side. Let's bring the left heel to the inner thigh. Okay. Again, the pelvis will want to open up because of the weight of the leg over here. You're going to turn your pelvis to the right a little bit more. Oops, excuse me. Looked at myself on the screen. This threw me off. Turn your pelvis to the right. Now, the right hip will tend to sag out to the right. Squeeze your right hip in. Okay. Now, with those two actions, the left knee should be in more to the center line, less out to the side. Pelvis rotating, if anything, a little more to your right. I'm not mirroring. I apologize for that. It might be confusing you. Okay, so towards your standing leg, which is to my right, should be your right, but it's backwards visually. But the words are correct. Okay, now rotate the biceps outward, external rotate, a little retraction of the scapula. As you reach the arms up, once your arms start to pass shoulder height, then start to lift the outer shoulder blades up as well, palms together. Again, pinky edge of the palms pressed together, and then maybe you gaze up, maybe you don't, but the pinky edge of the palms pressing together is going to be that external rotation of the arm bone that we're going for today, that stabilization of the glenohumeral joint, the shoulders, that is. Take a full breath in and out. Lift the sides of your shoulders up. Make sure that the pelvis is rotating forward at the minimum. Make sure that your shoulders are rising and your outer hip is in. Pinky edge of the palms together. Okay, and release the hands. Moses. Release the foot. All right. Take a moment. Full breath. All right, so next thing is we need a wall. I think I'd mentioned that in the email to you. And just bring your mat closest to the wall, whatever wall you got. Okay, and then all we're going to do is use the wall as a bit of resistance, because when you're learning this, we have one more technique that we would need in order to do the full variation without the wall, but I'm not going to share it with you today because we already have a lot in mind. I want to make sure that we get the shoulder really locked in, because that's most of the weight bearing. Okay, so the first things first, understanding what we're doing with the shoulder. In side plank variations, I always recommend index finger facing straight forward. You can come onto your side right now without really doing anything with your body. Just come, more into like as if you're watching TV or something, okay? The first thing, a lot of people when they do side plank is they press the shoulder forward and down, overactivating the pec minor muscle here and deactivating all the back muscles, not quite giving themselves the greatest support. So what we're going to do is actually let go of that while we don't have any weight on our shoulder. You're going to let go of that and sink the shoulder to the ear. This is going to give you enough mobility to move the shoulder back behind the chest. Once the shoulder goes back behind the chest, more or less that's called retraction. There's a couple of other terms that are happening at the same time, but let's just think shoulder back, okay? Then the next step will be grip your fingers into the ground and spin the bicep externally. So turn your arm bone out to the side, okay? And if that requires that you turn your hand out more, then by all means do so. Now, usually when people spin the bicep externally, they put a lot more weight in the outside of the hand, the pinky edge of the hand. That's fine. But be sure that you're also pressing your thumb down and rooting into the inside of the hand so that you're doing kind of an opposite action. So to turn out, weight on the out edge of the hand. So you would, like Warrior Two, you would press the inside edge of the palm down. So you turn the palm down while the arm externally rotates. Let's try the other side and kind of solidify those actions. Okay, we don't need the wall just yet. Okay, so off on an angle here. I would say let's just grip the ground from the start. And to undo what would normally happen, let's just go into it. Move your shoulder forward. Most people do side plank and they put weight bearing here. There's no real protection for the shoulder joint here. There's ligaments in the front here that we put at risk. And we also put at risk the pressure that we're putting on our collarbone when we do this. So instead, we want to kind of put the weight in the backside. So the shoulder is going to go up first when there's no weight on it, and then it's going to go back this way. Now, as you externally rotate the humerus, what will then happen is your shoulder blade will start to climb down or drag itself down your back. Okay, but if you didn't do the first part and you just pulled your shoulder down, you would then just be pulling your shoulder down the front of the chest. So we go up, back, and then as we externally rotate, the shoulder blade locks into place as it goes down. Okay, down is going to be stable, up is going to be mobile. So we go up first in order to go around, because we need that mobility to get the shoulder out of our patterned place and a new zone. Then we externally rotate and lock the shoulder back into place by drawing the shoulder blade down. You don't really have to think about the shoulder blade going down so much unless it's not happening. Okay, so again, you go up, back, and rotate out with the bicep. That should get your shoulder blade to move down if your shoulders are healthy. If they're not, and there's no movement at the shoulder blade, then you can think, depress your shoulder blade, pull it down the back, but it has to be behind you. Then just check in with your hand, fingers grip the ground, and whenever I externally rotate like that, I always lose my thumb side. So not only rotating the palm face down, but actually pushing the ground away by rooting down into my thumb as I push with my thumb, from my shoulder into my thumb. Okay, now let's try that. We're going to incrementally bring that up higher and higher and put more weight on the shoulder. Let's see. The next step will be, let's do side plank on our shins. So hand is always in front of the shoulder, never straight down as they would say in like the old kind of yoga books where they'd be like this. This is very heavy and intense on the wrist. So you go off on a triangle like all great supporting structures. Okay, spin the bicep out. I'm sorry, don't do that. Shoulder goes up to the ear, back, and then spin the bicep out. Okay, if you can get the shoulder back and around in one fell swoop, that's awesome. But most people, you'll have to kind of like move your shoulder to your ear, back, and then rotate as a 3-step process. Okay, then as your shoulder and bicep rotate out, make sure you're rooting into your thumb and your fingers are gripping the ground. Okay, at this point, you want your waistline, the bottom waistline, to be engaged, so you're in kind of an arc, a rainbow-y position. Take your left arm over your ear, press through your right thumb. Okay, and then release. We're going to do the other side. And I'm going to show you from the back side so you get another angle of the shoulder and see what's happening. Okay, let's get into this kind of side plank on knees. Remember, the shoulder is not directly over the wrist. The wrist is out in front. It's going to save you a lot of discomfort. Okay, so shoulder to the ear, then back. So 1, 2, then 3 is to rotate the arm bone externally outward. And then again, you're going to feel that puts the pressure in the outer wrist, which is fairly painful. So you press your thumb down, root into your thumb as you push the ground away. Okay, you should feel hopefully your side waistline engaged as a result, giving you kind of a big side bend, a big arc of the body. Okay, holding that, keep rotating the arm bone externally.
All right, and release. Brilliant.
Okay, let's give your wrist a moment. You know what we can do to give your wrist a moment? We can practice forearm side plank with tree pose position in the leg. So you would, we can just do it together, okay? So take your side plank positioning, and the way you're gonna do this side plank, it's easiest if you're here, but that's a very internally rotated arm, and maybe destabilizing the shoulder, perhaps. So let's go more of a 45-degree angle, and take your left foot into a kickstand. And all you're gonna do is use your waistline on the right side here to side bend, squeeze until your left ribs poke up, and then lift. Okay, I like to take a little shorter stance once I'm up there. Right waistline is really active, and then I can take the left foot into tree pose, perhaps, keeping the right rib cage pulling in and up to the sky, trying to bow out or rainbow the body. Maybe you take the top arm over your ear. Okay, then slowly come on down and switch the sides. So the bottom waistline, the obliques, and the QL is what you're trying to activate. By the way, you could also start the foot. I find it actually easier usually when the foot is behind you to start, or it could be in front, whichever you like. Okay, now you can move the shoulder a little bit so you can go up and back so it's behind you. But really, this exercise is to pull the left waistline, left rib cage up off the ground. Eventually, you have to use your feet to help, but you want to get the underside of your belly here to activate, to keep your hips up. Okay, then maybe you can take tree pose, right foot on top, and reach the right arm long. These are all options, of course. Squeeze the left waistline so your hips lift up taller. All right, and release. Great. So next step, full variation of it in tree pose, and that's really where we're ending up for today, okay? And eventually, hopefully next class, I think we can take everything that we've learned from today and add on in order to do full Vashisthasana. But today we want to make sure we isolate and get that shoulder, the bottom shoulder to get back behind us and rotating outward. And then make sure that we got the waistline muscles. Again, those are the obliques and the QL muscles. Even your erector spinae are going to help out with this. Erector spinae, by the way, are the back muscles that create extension. But when one side is active, it creates a little side bend. We get all these muscles supporting us, and we do tree pose variations. So let me show you the way I recommend is a foot behind you like this. And it's like Wild Thing to begin. So you go step 1, step 2, and step 3. A lot of you have done this with me. Shoulder up, shoulder back, shoulder around, externally rotating. Okay. Then you lift your hips up and you try to really activate your waistline here. There's 2 options. Option 1, foot on the wall. Option 2, foot to inner thigh, tree pose or Vashisthasana preparation. One you might find easier than the other. Some of you might find the wall easier. Some of you might find tree pose easier, okay? It just depends on your patterning. Okay, so give it a shot. You take your right foot right up against the wall, makes it easier. If you can, actually, you can triangulate your foot. So your foot is on a diagonal, not firmed up against the wall, but that's gonna be hard for you, probably if you haven't done that before. But I'm just telling you, but don't worry, you could also put the foot directly on the wall. Okay, step 1, shoulder to the ear. Step 2, shoulder back. Step 3, rotate the arm. And then you want to engage the side waistline and rise up. Okay, I'm not going to do the same side twice. And then option to place your left foot onto the wall or place it into your inner thigh if it's possible for tree pose Vrikshasana version of side plank. Okay, think about your right shoulder rotating outward. And you can turn your belly a little to the sky activate the side waistline obliques and your QL and erector spinae muscles, the back muscles there, low back, to help lift your hips up and press your low belly to the sky. Okay, then very slowly and controlled, come on down. Okay, we'll do the second side. Take your time in getting ready. You come onto the left outer hip. Your right foot's behind you to start. Left shoulder goes up, back, and then externally rotate. Remember to grip the ground with your fingers. Turning the bicep out, externally rotating. Now lift the hips up. Use your left waistline oblique muscles, QL. Okay, keep the left bicep rotating out, and then take your right foot either to the wall or to your inner thigh for tree pose. Keep rooting into your left thumb while you rotate the bicep out. All right, and release. All right, very nice, very nice. It's hard to move your mat when it's on carpet. It's a new challenge for me. Take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, stretch the arms back behind you. And let's release the wrist, forearm to the ground, knee comes to the forearm. Relax your chest. If it's too much weight, lean back a little bit, come off of it as much as you need to so that you don't put too much weight in the forearm. It should be right on the meat of the muscle. Should feel nice, relaxing, maybe a little intense if the muscles are sore. Remember, you're in control of how much weight is on though. Come on up. See the other arm. Knee comes onto the forearm. And come on up. All right, so today we're going to meditate a little bit, take some time to center ourselves. However, if you'd rather take Shavasana, you're welcome to it. I'm going to guide through meditation, so find a comfortable seat. Usually that means sitting up on a block if you're doing Virasana, or sitting up on blankets if you're doing some sort of cross-legged position. And if neither of those feel good for you, my deepest and most profound suggestion is sit on a chair. Okay, so sitting on a chair is a great way to meditate. Most of the time, that's where I meditate, unless I'm practicing yoga prior. Okay, so wherever you are, if you're on the chair, sit on the edge of the chair. If you're on a block, make sure the pelvis is upright. If you're on a blanket, make sure your pelvis is upright. It won't be a long meditation, so you don't have to brace yourself for a really long experience, but we do want to get ourselves centered and prepared for the most optimal experience physically so that we can go deeper mentally. Do so. If you're uncomfortable, make sure you change your position. chair, blanket, or block is my suggestion. The pelvis slightly tips towards the thighs, just enough so that you can feel the weight of your pelvis, as if there's a weight on the front of your pelvis pulling you downward towards your thighs. And your low back should form a gentle arch. And here's where you have the opportunity to relax the belly. See if you can let it go out all the way, like as if you're having a Buddha belly, just soften the abdomen. Relax the back of your heart and let your breath be placed there. Bring the head gently back so it rests directly on top of the pelvis. Make sure that when you bring your head back, your chin doesn't rise. Just keep the chin relatively level. Take a moment to check in with your shoulders that tend to drop forward and down. Maybe just a gentle lift of them and slightly move them back. Once they're back, you can let the shoulder blades rest down the chest, the back. Very gently, we create the sound of ujjayi, the little whisper of our breath through our nose, just like we do in asana practice, and exhales. Today we're going to inhale for a 4 count and exhale for 6, so lengthening the exhales to help calm the mind. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, continue. Now, you're going to add a little pause, a lingering moment between the breaths. So after you're done inhaling, just take a lingering moment. No exhale, no inhale, no holding, just being, letting the breath suspend. And then you'll exhale for 6. 3, 2, 1. And then linger with no breath. Spaciousness. Inhale. 4 count. Linger without doing anything, keeping calm and at ease. Exhale for 6. Lingering here. Inhale. Lingering at the top. Exhale. Let the body return to its natural breath. Now notice as the mind drifts away into thought. Simply label that as thought and come back to just watching your breath. For some of you, it'll be easier to feel the sensations of your body, while for others of you, the focal point will be watching your body breathe. Either way, it'll captivate and hold your attention, and when you've stopped watching your breath or feeling your body, you'll notice that you're thinking a thought, feeling an emotion, and getting carried away and swept up in the captivation of it. Just come back. Come back to the observance, to the sensations. And if you get completely lost, go back to your breathing. When a thought comes in, you observe it, take note of it, label it as thought. You'll probably notice yourself feeling shameful or guilty that a thought came in. That's not the practice. The practice is to observe that there was a thought, and that's it. And simply coming back to observing your breath or observing sensations of your physical body, vibracious energy pulsing through you. Both of which reminding you that you are alive, a being of nature, in this ever recursive, ongoing experience of pulsation, expanding, and contracting. And as part of that pulse called spanda, our thoughts are also in that pulse of expanding and contracting. Our job now is to witness that we are in that pulse and getting swept away with it. Not to avoid or diminish it, but to observe that it is there and to acknowledge that we also have this one magnificent ability to be still, which is the opposite of movement. The mind is moving, thoughts are at play. The opposite of that is stillness, emptiness, nothingness. They must both exist. And the question is, can we experience both? We know we can experience the fullness of thought, the busyness of it. Can we recognize that it's there? And also recognize that there's a stillness, an emptiness, a void of observance within all of us. Come back to your breath. Deepen your inhalations. Lengthen your exhalations. Awaken slow through the fingers, the wrist, toes. Bring a little heat into the palms. Place the palms over the eyes. Enjoy a breath in. Again, a little heat to the palms. Place them over the heart. Enjoy a breath in. Hands over the belly. And massage your legs. Stretch the arms. Place hands at heart center. And we bow. Namaste. All right. Thank you for joining me for another enjoyable experience. Moving into what's going to be full Vashisthasana. I think we can get to it next time. Look forward to sharing more with you. Thank you for working through the shoulder techniques. Hopefully they're supportive to you, and we'll continue to increase our flexibility of our inner thighs and hamstrings so that we can eventually grab the foot, the top leg, maybe one day, maybe next time, maybe next year. All right, everyone, have a beautiful day. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday if you're watching this live. Also, by the way, 200 and 300 hour trainings. If you're watching this live, the 200 hours starts February 1st. The 300 hours starts February 14th. There are payment plans up to 24 months available, no fees, no extra, interest or anything like that. So you have 2 years to pay it off. If that's of interest to you, you could also pay up front too. If you have the money now, it's also nice. But if you have any interest at all, you're wondering if this is going to be the right direction for you, just let's set up a phone call together. We'll discuss personally, and we'll talk. So you can either just send me a message on Instagram. We can set up a call. You could also send me a message on my Gmail, theyoginat@gmail.com. You can reply to any of my newsletters. They go straight to me as well. So send me a message and let's set up a time. Okay, bye-bye.